The 2008 Summer Olympics officially opened this Friday in Beijing, the capital of China. More than 10,000 athletes, about 600 from the U.S., are expected to compete in 28 sports over the next 2 weeks. Now, China is about the same size as the United States, and Beijing is literally halfway around the world in eastern China, 12 time zones ahead of us. Beijing sits at 40 degrees north latitude, about the same as southern Pennsylvania. And in terms of temperature, Beijing's climate is similar. For example, here's average monthly highs. 30s during the winter, above 80 during June, July, and August. Now compare that to Harrisburg, which is representative of southern Pennsylvania. Beijing is a few degrees warmer in summer and a few degrees cooler in winter, but all in all, the seasonal variation is similar. But that's not the case at all with precipitation. And here I'll show you Harrisburg first. On average, May and June are rainiest, 4 inches plus, February driest with about 3, but each month gets its fair share of precipitation. Now compare that to Beijing, which remember is at the same latitude, but has very distinct wet and dry seasons. July and August are the rainiest months, each averaging about 7 inches. Almost 2/3 of the average rain falls in those 2 months. So these Olympics are definitely in the rainy season. And this monsoonal climate is driven by geography, the huge size of the Asian continent. Now here's the average pressure pattern in winter when heavy cold air covers the land. A huge high pressure system dominates Central Asia. This frequently sends lots of cold, dry air funneling into eastern China. But in summer it's a complete flip-flop. Air over the continent gets warm, pressure's lower over land. That means more of a warm, moist, southerly flow into eastern China. In fact, historically, the chance of rain in Beijing on any July or August day is about 50%. But this year it's been unusually dry lately. Here I go back 30 days. A green bar means that it rained on that day. There have only been 6 days with rain, and on 3 of those there was less than 1/10 of an inch. Just 2 inches during the last 30 days, building up more than a 5-inch deficit. So the summer monsoon has taken a break recently in Beijing. And that's actually good for Chinese meteorologists who have boldly stated their intention to modify potential rain-producing clouds to keep the Olympics dry, particularly the opening ceremonies. They claim that by firing dry ice and silver iodide into the clouds, they can either entice most of the rain to fall before getting to Beijing or weaken the cloud's ability to produce rain, depending on how much chemical is used. Though this is theoretically feasible, this kind of weather modification is controversial and unproven, and it's very hard to show any difference from what would have happened naturally. The recent dry stretch is not good for air quality, which is a big issue in Beijing. I'll have more to say about that next week. But next up this evening, Paul Knight's back with the extended forecast.